Life is like a highway, cutting through the landscape as we use it over and over to get from point A to point B in the fastest, most efficient way. There are barriers to protect us from other traffic, speed limits high enough that we feel like we're getting somewhere, but dangerous enough to make us feel like we're taking a risk. There's order and control, with law enforcement prowling in the background and road crews making sure that the highways are safe enough for us to drive on for years to come. However, there's a problem. Highways are the perfect example for explaining what typically happens in the United States. We have blinders over our eyes, much like the barriers do for us when driving. We use tunnel vision. We don't take the moment for what it has to offer because we're so focused on the destination. We don't take the moment to breathe. We don't take a moment to look around us. We don't take a moment just to take a moment. The world is just full of spur of the moment. Quick, think on the flash. We don't always open our eyes and look around in everyday life. But I did. Spring break 2014, I visited a great friend, Bill, in Arizona. The second before last day I left, we were going to do something that he said would, quote, knock my socks off. Where were we going? I asked with concern. Stargazing. We were going in the middle of the dry desert on a clear, crisp night with the temperature just hovering over 70 degrees. Once we got to where we were going, it was this long, winding road behind a mountain where we ended up. At this place was 5 telescopes, varying in size, of course. There was, however, this one large telescope that was about 6 or 7 to, maybe 8 feet tall. Huge telescope that this lady had. And what it was doing was looking into the dark black sky. So what she did was realigned her scope and said, "Okay, it's all set. Take a look." There it was. A pale blue oval-shaped object floating in the dark black sky ever so peacefully. What I was looking at was a faraway land at the distance of 60 million light years away. Galaxy M85. What I was seeing was 60 million year old light that was penetrating my eye and registering on my brain as this pale blue object. Bone chilling would be the best way to put it. At the time, I did not know what I was feeling or what was going on until I had a conversation with Bob Badville. Bob's a philosopher. He's also a 45-year veteran of Kalamazoo Valley. He will now explain exactly what phenomenology is.
Do you realize what you just said to me?
No.
You just gave me the finest example of phenomenology. You had this awesome event in your life, right? And the experience that you had in relating to it was inner, wasn't it? Deeply inside of you. Otherwise, it would have been nothing bone-chilling at all. You would just sit. There are people, who look up at those galaxies and feel nothing. There are people who would do that, I think. That's not a good thought, though. What happened there was that you were seeing something that exists. Okay? So even though existentially speaking, it's difficult to point your finger maybe at a galaxy and say, well, that's existential. But the human element enters in now. And for you, this was an existential experience because you witnessed something that is beyond description, practically speaking, beyond description. You described it as bone chilling. That's a description, but what does it do? It simply tells you that it shook you up. Well, this shake-up is phenomenological.
Edmund Husserl is the founder of Phenomenology. The term phenomenology was around before Husserl, but what he did was define the term.
Definition: Phenomenology stands in opposition to naturalism, for which material nature is simply a given and conscious life itself is part of nature, to be approached with natural scientific methods oriented toward empirical facts and causal explanations. In contrast, phenomenology turns directly to the evidence of lived experience of first-person subjective life in order to provide descriptions of experiencing and of objects as experienced, rather than causal explanations.
Wow, what the hell does that mean? Well, living in the moment for what it has to offer. Taking whatever the moment is giving you without any outside forces. Just like my personal experience with M85. Husserl also puts phenomenology as experiencing. Experiencing life. Experiencing your surroundings. Experiencing the moment. What is the moment? That is what I'm trying to tell you. A moment has an indefinite number of conclusions, however, has one primarily simple definition. Moment. A short, indefinite period of time. Right now, you're in your own moment. Look here. Blue, yellow, red, green, white. Cat, dog, tree, house, fire, water, butterfly. See, we're all living in a state of existence, and we're all experiencing those existences in a state of conscience, a state of knowing. Husserl was a complex man, but his concepts were quite simple. You may have done this when you were little. Did you ever play I Spy? If so, whenever you said, I spy with my little eye something, well, you can fill in the blank. You have that state of conscience. You have to take the moment for what it has to offer. Finally, take your experience in. Take it all in. Take it deep in and realize you're experiencing.